Hey guys, it's Liz here. Long time no live see. Oh man. So how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's week is off to a good start. We're almost to the weekend. But I've had a lot on my mind lately, and I've kind of been in this cocoon mode trying to figure out a few things. And as I've been going through my own personal journey, some things in the universe have been like revealing themselves to me or showing themselves to me. And I just felt the need to jump on and do a quick live tonight and share something with you. And that is for all of the positive gurus, inspirational people, quotes, you guys know I love quotes, and things that are out there that tell you to be successful. They say things like, love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life, right? Have you heard that? Yeah, okay. But what I realized, just based on some recent events, which I'll share with you guys in a minute, is that the gurus, what they don't tell you about success is almost as important, if not more so, in some ways, than what they do tell you about success. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. So what do I mean? Well, you guys know that I'm a big proponent of establishing boundaries, finding your way to a healthy yes, and doing things like that as part of our self-care regimens. You guys know that if you come to any of my workshops, you read my book, you follow my blog or whatever, or if you've seen any of my previous lives, you'll know that. But sometimes it's really, really hard to say no and to know when to walk away, especially when we're successful. And that's what I want to talk about. So what the gurus tell you, never, ever, ever tell you about success is this: that sometimes the price of success is not worth success. So sometimes success is not worth the price of success. Let me say that one more time. What the gurus never tell you, or what they rarely focus on, is that sometimes success is not worth the price of success. But what do I mean? You're saying, oh, Liz, you know what? I would love to have a great job that pays me well with great benefits and perks and stuff like that. And if I had a job like that, I would never walk away. I would never leave it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, sure. You say that. But consider this. I'm going to show you 3 real live examples of people we all know and love who did exactly that. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the reason why they did it and why it was so important, regardless of what you might think about it, politics aside and all of that kind of stuff. Forget it. Sometimes, even if we have that great job with great perks and we finally got that big title that we've been pursuing, and we're making all the money that we want to make, we can still be miserable. Yeah, I know. Some of you guys are out there saying, what are you, crazy? This is first world problems. Would love that to be me. But you know what? You say that, but if you've never experienced that, if you've never felt the way that I'm going to share with you these people have felt, then it's hard to kind of wrap your head around that. But I can tell you from my own experience, it's absolutely true. Sometimes the money doesn't matter. The perks don't matter. The prestige doesn't matter. All of that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is your happiness, because you have to feel mentally free at work. We all spend so much time in our day jobs, or if you're an entrepreneur growing your business or doing whatever you do, that if you don't feel mentally free to be who you are in a way that's authentic to you, you're gonna be miserable, and there's no cost, no money in the world that could change that. But by now you're saying, yeah, okay, Liz, throw a whole bunch of money at me and I'll show you how miserable I'm not going to be in my job, right? So let me show you exactly what I mean. And these are 3 real life examples from people you and I both know, okay? So let me switch the screen here in technology. Okay, let's see. Okay, so hopefully you guys can, hey Tracy, thanks for being here. And so these are the actual words from the people themselves. And maybe you felt this way. So as I'm reading these, these quotes from these 3 different people, if you felt that way, say, hit the like button or let me know, chime in the comments if you've ever felt this way at your job. This person was promoted into a big position, truckloads of money was thrown at him, and he walked away. And he said, I wasn't walking away from the money. I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau. It's such a big price tag. At a certain point, you're like, I feel miserable and I come here every day, and for what? At a certain point, I was like, this isn't fun anymore. You got to constantly take inventory of what's important to you. Hey, Ariane. So if you guys have ever felt this way at your job, or if you can relate to this in any way, shape, form, or fashion, let me know. Okay? Here's person number 2. This person number 2 was or is an expert in their field. There's few people better, more equipped, more qualified, who knows the business that they're in than this individual. And I'll tell you who they are in a minute, but I just want you to think about this and if this sounds like you, or if you've ever felt like this in your career. And this person is an expert in their field, the best to ever do it, and was promoted up through the ranks into a job that you would think was a natural extension of what this person is expert at. It used all of his expertise and experience, but it used it in a different way. And he said, and he walked away from it all. And he also was, quote unquote, president of the company. So he said, I want to go back to having fun. I want to go back to being who I was before taking on this job. That's not fun for me. That's not who I am. I'm going to say that one again. That's not who I am. That's important. I was happier not being the president. And finally, our third person. This person speaks for a living. Is what they do. And she said, it wasn't the best format for me, never a good thing when I have to practice saying my name and have to be told that I have too much emotion in my name. I was working on pulling myself down and flattening out my personality, which for me is actually not such a good thing. Footnote. For anybody, flattening out who you are is never a good thing, not just for her. Okay? So if you can relate to any one of these 3 people, I see that some of you guys can, and they're saying amen to that, and I felt this way many times, which is great, because we feel this, and what do? A lot of times we stay right where we are. We stay where we are because we've got obligations, facts, says Norma. Hey, Norma, thanks for being here. We stay where we are because we feel like we don't have options, or we can't see our options. We feel like we've got bills to pay, we've got obligations, we've got financial commitments, or whatever, or we owe the company something. For whatever reason, we stay where we are. But what I want you to think about, and if you or somebody you know is feeling this way, I want you to think about, what's the risk in staying? Too often we only focus on the risks associated with leaving or changing or doing something differently to change or improve our situation, but we never quantify or qualify or think about the risks involved in staying. want you to think about that. Now, let me tell you who these three people are. And I promise you, you know all of them. So the first person is Dave Chappelle. He famously walked away from $50 million. That's $50 million. We all remember when he took his 2-week hiatus and went to South Africa to get his head right. He had a successful show, and and we don't all understand the business of television, but he said, and these are quotes from, the first quote's a direct quote from his interview that he did with Oprah Winfrey, and then the three other quotes are quotes that he did with an interview with Anderson Cooper. So Google those and check them out yourself. But I thought this was so interesting because he talked about his freedom. He didn't feel mentally free, and it stopped being fun, and he just needed to get out. He didn't care about the $50 million. His happiness and his mental freedom was more important to him than the money. Now, I understand not everybody's got Dave Chappelle level money, and you can't walk away from that. But think about this. What's $50 million to Dave Chappelle might be $60,000 in a salary to you or to me. Right? It's the same thing. No amount of money is worth your sanity, your happiness, your physical health. Second person. Magic Johnson. He famously did this just 2 to 3 weeks ago. Magic Johnson, like I said before, expert in his craft. Few better to ever play the game of basketball, know the game of basketball than Earvin Magic Johnson. Politics aside, we can get into the GOAT argument and all that kind of stuff. But we can all agree he's one of the greatest basketball players in the history of basketball. And it just made sense that he's a Laker, grew up in the Lakers organization as a professional, and they gave him the job of president of basketball operations. Intellectually, it's the perfect job for somebody like Magic Johnson. But you know what? Politics aside, and I'm not necessarily a Lakers fan or not a Lakers fan, but he wasn't very good at the job. So this is another thing I want you guys to understand, is that when you're not happy, when you're not doing things that are aligned with your true purpose, your true talents, your true calling, your performance suffers. It does. If Earvin Magic Johnson can be bad at basketball operations, that tells you everything. What he also says in his interview when he famously quit a couple of weeks ago is he wants to go back to mentoring players. Mentoring is core to his spirit and core to his purpose. And I define your purpose as it's that point of intersection between when you get to do what you love, get paid to do it, what you're good at, and you feel like you can make a meaningful contribution to the broader world around you. When those four things come together, you're living your purpose. Being president of the Lakers organization in charge of basketball is not his purpose. Mentoring young guys, building business, mentoring people, cultivating community, that is more aligned with his purpose. And he said it's not fun. And he says elsewhere in this interview, I have a great life and I want to go back to that life. And I just want to jump back to Dave Chappelle for a moment. The other takeaway that I want you to get from Dave Chappelle is he had to cocoon. He took 2 weeks away and just went to another country. Now, you might not be able to go to another country to get your head right, but it speaks to the importance of taking time to be still, be quiet, in prayer, meditation, clear your head, get your mind right, get your head together so that you can regain your perspective, and then you can go forward and recalibrate and realign in another path that's more aligned with your purpose, which is exactly what Magic Johnson is doing right now. And the third person, you know her. She's the queen. She's Oprah. And my picture's in the way, but what was interesting about this just happened. Oprah Winfrey, and I didn't know this. I read about this and this popped in my timeline, and these three things all serendipitously popped in my timeline, and I thought that was the universe speaking to me, which is why I wanted to come on and do this live tonight. But Oprah had a contract with 60 Minutes to do like these stories and, these human interest stories and things like that. So when she's talking about saying her name over and over again and how they repeatedly told her that she had too much emotion in her name, imagine telling Oprah Winfrey, no, say that again. Practice saying your name again. Imagine what's the equivalent of that at your job. Okay, you're a teacher. That's like somebody telling you, here's how to use the chalk. You know what I mean? Like, imagine how diminishing and dismissive and probably insulting in some ways. Like, what a character assassination that is. But the company doesn't care. 60 Minutes doesn't care. They wanted things done their way. Too much emotion. You hire Oprah Winfrey to host your TV show because of the emotion. I'm Oprah, girl. Let it out, right? I mean, come on. Like, that's her thing. There's an internet story. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's popped up in my Facebook feed several times. It talks about Oprah's early career and how she started out being a newscaster reporter, reporting the facts. And she got fired from that job because she was too emotionally connected to the people in her stories. And so, but they liked her. So instead of totally firing her from whatever station she worked at, they moved her over and gave her a position as like a talk show host. Played to her strengths, lined to her purpose, and poof, Oprah, future POTUS Winfrey, potential POTUS Winfrey, was born, right? Because of emotion is core to her being her and doing what she does. So when she says pulling myself down and flattening out my personality, it's actually not such a good thing. It's the worst thing, because that's the crux of her empire, was built on her personality. And the same is true for you and you and you and you and you, right? It's true for all of us. If you find yourself in a situation at work where you feel that your true self, your authentic self, is being pulled down and flattened out, and you can't be yourself in that environment, maybe it's time to take a pause and reassess and recalibrate and ask yourself deeply and honestly, is this where I really need to be? Now, by this time, you're saying, yeah, I know it's easy for Oprah Winfrey to say to heck with it and walk away from 60 Minutes. It's easy for Dave Chappelle, who was in the business for, 20, 30 years before he walked away from $50 million. Easy for Magic Johnson to say peace out to the Lakers. I'm not sitting on Oprah, Dave, and, and Magic money. And that's okay. And you're right. I get that. But the point of the matter is that nobody's saying for you to walk out of your day job and do anything financially irresponsible. But part of loving yourself, part of doing right by yourself, part of taking care of yourself and being authentic to yourself is to honor those feelings. When you start to feel like our three friends that we all know and love, friends in our head, when you start to feel some kind of way, then you have to be honest about and ask yourself, I understand there's risks for leaving, finding a new job, starting my own business, doing my own thing, changing careers, or whatever it winds up being. But you got to be honest with yourself. What's the true risk in staying? Sometimes success is not worth the price of success. Dave Chappelle says it in the quote that I showed earlier. He says that it's important to examine what's really important to you. And you know what? When we do, we're going to find that it's not money. It's not a fancy title or a corner office or a prestigious role in a big company or whatever it is, or a prestigious firm. It's about being happy. And it's about being healthy, right? From the inside out. It's about living in a way that's aligned with your true purpose, your true calling, and your true spirit. But you have to know what your purpose is, what your calling is, and what that spirit is to begin with. So that's my message for you. The gurus don't always talk about that because they're always trying to come from a place of joy and positivity. And they don't always tell you what the other side of the success equation can look like. And I just felt it was on my heart these last couple of weeks, these different examples with Dave Chappelle, Oprah Winfrey, different ones been popping in my timeline. And I just felt the need to come on and do a quick live tonight and share this with you guys. And so I hope something I said resonates. And if you're feeling some kind of way, or if you know somebody that's feeling some kind of way, reach out to them and sit down with them and ask them, what's the risk in staying where you are? You always have options, even if you can't see them. And sometimes you got to cocoon like Dave Chappelle did, like I've been doing in some ways, because I'm about to go through a personal transformation of my own in terms of my career. And I'll be telling you guys about that more and more in the weeks and months to come. And sometimes you just need a time out to cocoon and be like Dave Chappelle and take that take that metaphorical trip to South Africa to get your head right. And then, come back and pivot and take an inventory of what's really important and stay positive through it all and recalibrate your path, right? Because you're meant for greatness and I want you to pursue it. So anyway, that's my message for tonight. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. If this touched your heart, if you think it will help somebody else, please hit that like button, share it, reshare it. And hopefully I will look forward to seeing you guys on my next Live with Liz broadcast. That's it for now. Bye.